So this is the Church of Elleh. And the Church of Elleh is one of the very, very beginning points in this game where you find Sanctuary. I'm not getting Mont Saint-Michel vibes, but it is a very important site of the game because it's kind of like the starting Sanctuary and the first place where you learn how to die, how to come back to life, etc. Before we enter, let's talk about how deep this entryway is. This is a huge amount of stone. And structurally, this would be called, oh, you know what? I need to look up my church. Is it called the apse? Nave, aisle, transept, choir. Yeah, this is a good one. Ambulatory, apse, altar, chapel, aisle, nave, baptistry, entrance. Let's just look at this one. Okay, so this is actually called the narthex. This space here all the way on the right, which isn't labeled, right? Which is one of my favorite architecture terms that I always remember. But yeah, the nave, the aisle, the choir, transept, and the apse. Why is it so deep? Is a really good question, but it's not as deep as it would seem from the outside, because once you get to the inside, you realize a lot of it is for this tower, and it doesn't quite go the entire length of the wall. If you guys notice, there's a lot of things wrong with this ruin, because this ruin, let's see, it is suggesting a lot of things that would have been very poorly planned in this church. And so let's start with the fact that this column, the interior column that would designate the... Oh, that's really pretty, though. The interior columns that would designate the aisle and the nave. So this is the space of the nave in the church, and these are the aisles. So this space, this volume continues to... So this is the volume. So nave, and nave is the middle part, and the aisle is the middle part. Is that the way that they would distinguish the nave and the aisle with these columns ends up running right into this exterior window. So that's our first clue that something is a little off about the way that this church would work, right? Typically, you don't want to look into the only very small window in a building and see a column. That's not a good placement, and you can see it there. Let's see if we can get a good view of that. Yeah, you can see it here where that upper window is getting intersected. Not good, guys. Not good. That, to be clear, what should be the case is that the column structure is here. So I'm drawing in perspective, but this should be the nave. This should be the aisle. So the columns should line up with this moment in the structure. Instead, they're pushed out in a way that intersects with the front elevation windows. I think one of the reasons why they do that is to create a little bit more open space on the interior so that we could see our guy. But really, I don't think it's necessary. Here's a very weird moment wow, we can see the artifact of what should be the structure on the back wall, as this is the column where that would line up with the proper alignment of those. However, these are adjusted, so these actually don't, these wouldn't hit that column. Does that make sense how I'm describing it? If I'm drawing, I'm going to draw it in plan as a diagram. This is the church approximately. This is where they should be, the columns. This is the at the rear. There's a pilaster, but the columns have been pushed to the side. So the columns go here, but then they end and they visibly miss the relationship with the pilaster, and they intersect the exterior window. All to create a little bit more space on the inside for our first experience with this merchant. I mean, I won't doubt, I will say, like, they got the vibes right. They got this stone church vibe right. But once you look and examine this ruin a little bit further, you start to get a little bit disenchanted with how it is. Or you get more enchanted because you wonder how exactly this this building could have been built. Like, why would it have been built this way? So here's an example of, here's the column structure not hitting, not hitting the wall where it would meet this pilaster. You can see how it wouldn't line up. Oh yeah, that's a more obvious one because the pilaster is also registered on the exterior elevation. Video game architecture is vibes, and vibes are important, and the vibe check fits, right? Like, this feels like a ruin of a church, right? This feels like the ruin of a church. It does it really well. Gonna try just to, like, yay, cool. Okay. Oh. The vibe check passes, and that's important. You're right. But also, and maybe this is a really obvious one too, where the columns and the window intersect. There's a lot of things, like, one thing that does not feel like a ruiny church is the depth of this entryway. There's no rose window, right? There's no which is maybe okay, because I think it gets like, the architecture of this game gets a lot more ornate and threatening as you go further, which is legible so far. It's a pretty humble church. Bell tower up there, steeple, you know, ruins, that no steeple, nothing like that. An abbey or monastery church, exactly. But really, would this thickness make sense? Wouldn't this thickness be this thickness would never be the entryway of a sacred space like a church, right? Like even with the technology of just stacking stone, you could find ways of creating an entry door. Was usually yeah, okay, I'm right about that. Yeah, the thickness is whack. It's not welcoming, but yeah, it's a bonkers vault. It's a little small, I think. Yeah, it's cramped. The thickness, yeah, I don't know. I've been into churches very old, and they you know, they still found a way around, because, like, a lot of people would have to enter, and you want the Like, not until, okay, here's why. Not until, like, Frank Lloyd Wright did architecture want to, like, compress you before opening you up, right? Like, this wasn't an act of, like, I know, we'll do compression and then release. A groin vault. Yes, exactly. There would be also, like, a small room here where you'd store some supplies. Supplies! The entrance sequence in a church is about compression usually, yeah, but it's kind of a grandiose... there's usually steps up. How about that? How about that, Jesse? The entry sequence should have steps up. And we know it. We know it, right? There would be a step up to this church. And the ruin of it being covered in ground is correct, but not necessarily. The ground would have a hard time getting covered like this. I mean, I've stepped down into some old churches that feel like you're on an old ship or something. Monastic church, I guess, especially if it's this small. A monastic church would have to be connected to something. An abbey, right? The cloister. Yeah, I don't know what all this is, though. Because this is all over here. Whoa, what is this? Yeah, this is a little... This piece is this is an interesting chunk. I don't know if it's lazy modeling. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot modeled here. Colosseum fragment. Yeah, honestly, it's not a baptistry. It's like it's too big to be that, right? Like, look at I'm riding across. It's like maybe it was a maybe it was an opera. It could have been an opera, an old opera, a theater. Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry, I killed the... Hey, guys, I'm still trying to level up, okay? I'm not going to be able to review more buildings unless I get higher level, so... Things gotta die. This is weird. Look at this. I think this is a mistake. Here we found... Oh, no. Well, yeah, I'm going to call this a mistake. This, like, slit. This thing feels like a mistake, this piece. Especially because, I don't know if you can see that there's detailing on this side of this column that follows up to here. So it doesn't appear to have been designed to want to be interrupted. But there's this strange, like, really strong interruption here that doesn't seem to fit. Modernist lentil. You think there's a Michelangelo at From Software? That could be. From here, though, look at how much it does for the facade, right? Like it creates a slitted bunker. Look at how strong it is registered on the facade. That's why. That's what it doesn't feel intentional when I'm looking at this building from far away. This feels like yeah, exactly like the Boston Library or something. Floating footed columns disturb me. Oh my, Jesse. Wow. Okay, yeah. Oh my. I didn't even notice that. Yep. Okay, we're at a... Oh boy. Somebody... This did not get... This somehow didn't pass... the check here. These columns I'm gonna get the telestrator out just so that it's obvious. But this column comes down and sits on nothing. It's very unsupported. Columns are designed to carry weight down, so there should always be something underneath them, and that thing should continue. You shouldn't cut them off, so these columns are just sort of floating unsupported, and you can see them from below here. Yeah, someone tell George R.R. Martin about this. I don't know that I can get on top of this structure. But I am curious what the roof looks like, because it looks like a flat roof, which I don't know what material you're doing that in. It's probably just stone. Yeah. You can't really do a stone roof. I mean, not a stone flat roof. There's stuff on that roof. I don't know how to get there. So that after that slight, I mean, what's cool is that the scale of this game also presents, like, by the way, there's like giants in this universe, right? There's giants. There's all types of different people. So it could be that this piece is actually scaled to be the top of a column that fell a long time ago, right? Giants might not go to church. No, but they go to the theater, apparently. Here's another version of this, and yeah, here's what the ceiling looks like. There's inscribed circles. It looks like a game of tic-tac-toe. Oh, by the way, oh my god, I didn't kill the eagle? Whatever. This is the same piece of architecture. So it's a little bit of a repeat, but that's okay. It's okay to repeat architecture from time to time.